Are we in the end time yet? What is the main event that occurs in the end time? The tribulation period would be the main event or period. There's the end time generation, and at the end of that, there's the tribulation period where the Antichrist takes over the world by making war against the saints, which would mean the Christian countries. Revelation 13, verse 7. It says he will make war, he will overcome the saints, which would mean the Christian, the countries predominantly Christian. They are also those countries are, collectively, they are the restrainer that is restraining the nations that are the bad nations. This translates into NATO restraining Russia. And but I'm getting away from my point. The point I want to make is, in order for us to be in the end time, we have to have the technology to conquer the world. And in other words, up until just recently, the technology was not there. So the world was not in the end time. It's only been in since 1945, and well, the space age added to it the missiles and also the computers, and now there's a configuration of nuclear bombs, nuclear missiles, and computers to run the operation. So now the conquest of the world is possible, and now we can say clearly we are in the end time, because that's what characterizes the end time, the conquest of the world by the Antichrist. Now, Martin Luther, back in the 1500s, he thought he was in the end time. Apparently he was not focusing on Revelation 13, verse 7, like I am. And there was no way world conquest could occur in those early days. So he was totally off base. As a Protestant, let me say that, in my view, Luther was like the greatest Christian after the Apostle Paul, because he started the Protestant Reformation, and he stood up against, he stood bravely against the Roman Catholic Colossus. But I want to say that even though he was brave and bold and so forth, he was wrong about the end time occurring in his time. The end time, he was not in the end time. Now, where did this phrase, end time, come from? Why is this term? And why, the last days, what is that talking about? It's synonymous with the end time. Now, where did that come from? Well, see, in Daniel chapter 7, Daniel has a vision of 4 empires in succession ruling over Israel. First was Babylon, then Persia, then Greece, then Rome. Now, after Rome, Daniel 7 says that Israel would come to the forefront. I should have looked that section up, but the idea is God's people will take over the world. That's what it says. So the Jews in Israel look forward to them taking over. And as Christians, as the church came along, we interpret that as Christians and Jews taking over. And a long story short, the end time refers to the waiting period in which we're waiting for the four empires for their time to come and go. We're waiting to succeed them. And because Rome was ruling the world in Christ's time, everybody said we're in the end time, because after Rome, Israel gets to take over. And anyway, it turns out they were totally wrong, because in Revelation 17, it says, the beast you saw was and is not and will come again. So the fourth empire, instead of being succeeded by the Christian, by Christ and the church taking over and Israel taking over, it's succeeded by a second period of the fourth beast. The fourth beast comes a second time. The fourth beast is the Roman Empire. And between the first coming and the second coming of the fourth beast, there is the whore of Babylon, which is, Babylon means Rome. It's talking about the Catholic Church, the harlot, so this thing has gotten totally complicated. But I think I will not get into it right now, and I'll just summarize it real quickly. The return of the fourth beast is Revelation 13:7. It says the beast, which means the man that restores the fourth beast. In other words, the term beast refers to the empire, a Roman Empire, but it also refers to the man who restores the Roman Empire. It's not really Roman, but it's one-man rule, which is what characterized the Roman Empire. Roman Empire was Caesar, one man ruling over all of Europe. And when Russia conquers Europe, one man will rule all of Europe. The ruler of Russia will be the beast. And it'll be a return of one-man rule. And in Revelation, it says that 10 kings will give their power over to the beast. No. They don't give their power. He takes their power from them. They surrender their power. They give their power in the sense of surrendering their power. Like when a man rapes a woman, she doesn't give her body, he takes her body. And when Russia takes Europe, the rulers of Europe, they don't give their power to Russia. Russia removes them from power. And so that's the return of the Roman Empire. Now let me go over some details. It says in Revelation 13:7 that the beast will make war against the saints. And I said that refers to the Christian countries. The saints refers to the Christians and the countries where they live. Well, no, it's not the beast making war against all the Christian countries in the world. He's making war against those Christian countries that are restraining him, because we can interpret Revelation 13:7 by 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where it talks about the restrainer, restraining the man of sin, who is also called the son of destruction, and a better translation is the destroyer. He becomes a destroyer when he overcomes the restrainer. The restrainer is talking about the alliance, the NATO alliance, which is headed up by America. And when Russia overruns Europe, they also bomb America, of course. of course. And, okay, well, as far as Rome is concerned, the whore of Babylon, the same day that we get hit, Rome gets hit, and Vatican City is finished. What I'm saying is that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 6 through 8, where it talks about the restrainer being taken out of the way, that's Russia taking out America. America is the restrainer. America and Europe. And see, on one level, the main countries that are focused on are the European countries, because those are the countries that are overrun. And when you throw in America also, we're not going to be occupied, but we will be hit. Now, as far as current events, in late December, well, mid-December, it was found out, the news item said, Russia has gotten into our government computers, and I'm assuming that they're going after our nuclear arsenal, the computers that run the nuclear arsenal that would operate the retaliatory strike. And if they can disable our computers, then they can hit us, and then when we try to launch our retaliation, it won't work. We won't be able to launch our missiles because Russia has disabled our computers. So I think that God has given us this tip-off, this news item back in December, so that we can tell how far along we are on the road to this Russian attack on America. I would say within this year. And what else did okay. The news report said that while the hacking was discovered in December, it began, for some reason they know this, it began back in March. Now we're in March again. This is the anniversary of the beginning of the Russian hacking of our government computers. Now they say they know this is Russia because of the scale of the operation. In other words, it's got to be a state-sponsored operation. It's not just a bunch of individuals. It's a government which is paying these people. And in other words, it's a large-scale operation. Look it up on Google. The Russian hacking. This is it. This is a sign. This should be all we need to convince us of what I'm saying. That Russia will attack America because they can do it with impunity. When I say impunity, they can get away with. It'll be a one-sided war. What is supposed to be a deadly wound in Revelation 13, verse 3 and 4, the deadly wound. It won't be deadly for Russia because Russia has disabled our retaliatory arsenal. That's the worst case scenario. If they have done that, that would be the worst possible thing. Okay, that's all for now. I'll put a transcript. I'll write a transcript under the description box, and I did not want this to be so long. Let me sum up the main point I want to emphasize in connection with the title. We are the end time because the ability of one nation, a superpower nation, to conquer the world is actually, it's feasible. World conquest is feasible. That by definition puts us in the end time.